Hi, happy Tuesday, March 31st, Sacred Heart. It's great to be with you guys. I'd just like to thank everybody involved in putting this together and for allowing me the opportunity to reflect a little bit on the readings for today. My name is Sam Plummer. If you don't know who I am, I teach middle school social studies here at Sacred Heart. Needless to say, I'm really missing being up there, and I'm missing all the interactions with the kids too. And I'm heartless, evidently, because there is no emotion in that. I really do. I really miss it, and I miss Sacred Heart in general. All the people there, the parishioners, the teachers, the staff. You guys are terrific, phenomenal, amazing. The parents as well. I just hope you guys are making the most out of the quarantine. I know it's a tough situation for everybody. But I wanted to share with you kind of my reflections on one of the readings for today. At first, when I looked at it, I thought, oh, the gospel seems like it would have some good stuff in there. But God was really just putting it on my heart to read this first reading from the book of Numbers from the Old Testament. So it says, this is from Numbers 21, verses 4 through 9. It says, "From Mount Hor, the children of Israel set out on the Red Sea road to bypass the land of Edom. But with their patience worn out by the journey, the people complained against God and Moses. 'Why have you brought us up from Egypt to die in this desert, where there's no food or water? We are disgusted with this wretched food.' In punishment, the Lord sent among the people seraph serpents, which bit the people, so that many of them died. Then the people came to Moses and said, 'We have sinned in complaining against the Lord and you. Pray the Lord to take the serpents away from us.' So Moses prayed for the people, and the Lord said to Moses, 'Make a seraph and mount it on a pole, and whoever looks at it after being bitten will live.' Moses accordingly made a bronze serpent and mounted it on a pole. And whenever anyone who had been bitten by a serpent looked at the bronze serpent, he lived." Aside from the fact that the Lord was punishing the Israelites for like the 1,000th time for them not listening and not having faith in them, we can just kind of put that off to the side. What really struck me was the verse that said, "The people complained against God and Moses. 'Why have you brought us up from Egypt to die in this desert, where there is no food or water? We are disgusted with this wretched food.'" To me, I think maybe God was putting this on my heart because so often I feel like I'm ungrateful for the blessings that are in my life. And not to say that like I'm actively ungrateful, but that I'm not actively pursuing gratefulness. With that, I'm not actually looking at what are my blessings. So often I focus on what's going wrong. What are the bad things? That I'm not seeing the good things that I do have. For example, with this whole quarantine issue that's going on right now, I'm not able to go to school and teach. I have to do everything remotely while juggling a new baby and all the things that are going around here in the house as well. And to me, that can be frustrating at times. It can be challenging. And I look at all these things that are weighing me down, all of these negative aspects of all this, that I'm forgetting to be grateful for what I do have, or be grateful for what this quarantine actually offers me. For example, time in prayer with God, all right? Time that I don't usually have on a daily basis because I'm so busy with all of these other things going on. It allows me to branch out, to try new things that maybe I hadn't tried before. And most of all, it allows me to spend time with my family where I would have had a few days, but then I would have been right back to work, and it would have been solely the burden of my wife to care for our newborn. And so when I start to actually look at the good things, the blessings in my life, I see that I've been ungrateful a lot. And that's not what God's calling for us. Anytime that God allows darkness into the world or into our lives, and it's not that he's like creating this darkness, it's that he gave us free will. He gives everyone free will. And so he doesn't cause the darkness, but he does allow it to happen. And so whenever God allows darkness to happen, there's always a light that comes in that darkness. There's always good that comes out of this evil. And a lot of times it's hard for us to see that. For the Israelites, it was very tough for them to see, hey, God brought you out of slavery. You were slaves in Egypt for hundreds of years. And yeah, you have to wander the desert a little bit, but he's leading you to the promised land. And there's this light at the end of the tunnel that they're beginning to lose sight of. And God's saying, hey, you guys are being ungrateful. And we sometimes do the same thing. All right? And it's difficult. It really is. But we look at the ultimate act of darkness. We look at Jesus Christ, his passion, death, and resurrection. It is the pinnacle of our faith. It's the source of our faith with the Eucharist. And we see that this ultimate act of darkness, Jesus suffering, dying, this is the worst form of torture known to man at the time. And yet God takes that worst form of suffering, this darkness that has been allowed in the world, and he brings the ultimate light out of it with the resurrection of Jesus Christ, busting down, the doors of hell, like kicking them in, and opening up heaven for everyone to join him. And that's something that we can all be grateful for. And I think that's something that myself, I take that for granted a lot. And I think Lent is the perfect time to focus on that blessing that God has given us. To not think about all these things that are going wrong. To not think about, oh, I'm stuck at home with this quarantine, or oh, I have to go to work during this quarantine. Everyone has their different struggles right now. But it's up to us to look for the good that's coming out of this. And sometimes, a lot of times, most of the time, it's up to us to be the good. Thanks, guys.